Washington Commanders general manager Adam Peters said he fully expected Terry McLaurin to show up to training camp. Well, the first day came and there was only one person not present, and that was Terry McLaurin. So what does that mean for the rest of the team, and more specifically, the wide receiver room as training camp goes on? Let's talk about it. I'm Josh Taylor with A to Z Sports Commanders, and we officially have a holdout in Ashburn, Virginia, as All-Pro Terry McLaurin is not participating in training camp as he's waiting for that contract extension. So that's something we're going to watch. But in the meantime, we still have some on-the-field activities to talk about. And who's going to step up in the wide receiver room with Terry McLaurin not present at practice? Now, of course, Washington traded for Deebo Samuel in the offseason, and he's instantly going to become Jayden Daniels' top option until Terry does show up to practice. And it didn't take long to see how that connection's going, with Jayden Daniels finding Deebo on a touchdown over-the-shoulder throw, the very first throw of practice. That is how you get things going. That's how you kick things off as your second season in the league if you're Jayden Daniels. And for Deebo, he has a point to prove this season. This is a guy that everyone's already written off and saying he's washed. He's betting on himself with the contract that he has here in Washington, and he's fighting for a long-term deal after the season. Then you have veteran Noah Brown, who caught the Hail Mary, became famous in Washington fan base, but he avoided a major injury during minicamp, and he should be good to go. Dan Quinn said, of course, they're going to be careful with his injury and kind of ramp things up with him, but you're still going to see him out there in training camp, building that rapport with Jayden Daniels, and it's nice to have some more veteran presence in that wide receiver room and already having that connection with Jayden going into his second season. But then you have the young core of this team. Luke McCaffrey going into his second season. Now we know he's a great athlete, but what does he look like as a wide receiver? Can he refine some of those skill sets? And Dan Quinn said, not even just for Luke, but in general, that second season, this is where you see the biggest jump in development from players. You had that rookie season in the NFL. You can put that under your belt. You know what to expect now. You can address those things in the offseason that you really wanted to work on. And then, of course, they drafted Jalen Lane, who I think was underutilized at Virginia Tech and has a true potential to be a starting wide receiver for Washington, but then also be the starter on special teams. He was the best punt returner in the draft, is what Adam Peters said, and I agree with him. I think this guy's got speed that's missing at the wide receiver position from Washington, and he can start, and the special teams need a spark as well. So you have two younger guys who might be competing against each other, whether it is on the outside or that starting slot position, and that's the kind of competition I want to see. You have some veterans that are fighting for their spots, but then you also have these young bucks that want to earn their respect as well. But then you also had two name drops from Coach Quinn that kind of surprised me, with Chris Moore and KJ Osborne. I know, that's a shocking two names to hear from Coach Quinn, but he said, look, these are two guys that we signed during the season last year. They didn't get that offseason with us. They didn't get to learn the systems and spend time with Jayden Daniels. They just kind of showed up late and were just there. They didn't get the opportunities. Now he's been impressed with what he's seen from both of those guys, and honestly, I've heard both of their names a bunch, whether it was OTAs or minicamp or even now starting out at training camp, from Jayden and the coaching staff. But now they have the actual opportunity to compete at training camp, learn the systems, get that connection and trust with Jayden Daniels to where he can be fighting for one of those final spots. But right behind them is one of the famous undrafted rookies. Washington fans love this guy, and they should. Ja'Cory Brooks. Everyone wants to hear about Ja'Cory Brooks. What's he going to do at practice? I think he's going to be one of the names you hear a bunch. He's one of the guys I've highlighted in articles on A to Z Sports of guys that I think have something to prove, and they have the opportunity to win that last final roster spot at the wide receiver position. And on the first day, it wasn't just Deebo making noise. Ja'Cory Brooks had 2 touchdowns, one from Jayden Daniels and one from Marcus Mariota. So he's wasting no time. He said, look, guys, I'm not here to just watch and, be just some underdog story. I have some dog in me, and he does. He's got really great hands, and he has late hands for those contested catches and deep balls, and he has a great tracking ability as well. He doesn't have the fastest 40 time, but like I said, that's fine. As long as he can track those deep balls and earn that connection with Jayden, he's clearly got something if he's already gotten 2 touchdowns in the first day of practice. So don't be surprised when you hear Ja'Cory Brooks' name called when it comes down to the final cuts. So yes, Terry McLaurin not being at practice sucks. I know. We're all waiting for a new deal to get done with Terry, but still, let's look at the light at the end of the tunnel. This gives some other guys, whether they're new veterans or rookies or guys that just needed more time with Jayden Daniels and Marcus Mariota, this gives them more time to earn those reps and get that system down and just really hone their craft with the quarterbacks. And they're going to have every opportunity in the world with joint practices coming up. And then, of course, the preseason is right around the corner. So who are some of the names that you're keeping an eye on as training camp progresses? And who do you think ultimately comes out with one of those final roster spots? I'm Josh Taylor. See y'all next time.